Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 9 of What If Naruto was one of the legendary 7. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto became the shadow of Konoha on this channel, and enjoy that guys. In over Anime King 2, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was a one-of-a-kind prodigy, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. In over Anime King 3, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto had the ultimate nature bloodline, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. Remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family, and thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Ino was on the squad that was sent to find possible spies of Kiri. They had found 2 so far, one of them from the stone and one of them from Kumo. And despite the woman having a 4-year-old child, the child was butchered in front of the woman, showing how violent Kiri Shinobis can be if you are a traitor to their cause. It was vicious. Ino was caught off guard when they found their new target, as the captain did not wait to tell her until the end. It was Mikoto Uchiha, one of their Konoha spy, and if they ever found her, Ino was able to quickly create a water clone as she sent it off to warn Mikoto immediately. Meanwhile, as Sakamoto was talking to Tobirama, as he told him about the situation, Tobirama told Sakamoto that if things get too hectic, she was to be taken from her post and brought back to Konoha, as Naruto had warned him that he would do everything in his power to make sure Ino get back to Konoha. As he had warned him, there was no accent he had warned him, because if she did not, he wouldn't like it if things didn't go well on this mission. And a part of Tobirama was saddened that he never got to raise Naruto as his own, as he had no doubt that Naruto was his son, and that meant the child that Shino possessed was his grandson, and he wouldn't let anything happen to them. He was angry how easy Konoha was able to bow to Kiri demands. Well, they needed him at the moment, and Harrison was still young. And right now Sakamoto told him that they need him. Meanwhile, that was going on. As the battle had started, all the Kinkaku members had came out. They were violent, they were vicious. As Naruto stood there along with Mei and Kisame, as the main person, Kinkaku, was there as well. As he forced his chakra up to the limit, transforming into a spectacle of the nine-tailed fox. As he stood there, as Naruto stood there unblinking, as he told Mei and the others to go handle the remaining forces. As he looked towards Kinkaku soldiers as he charged forward. Meanwhile, Mainjutsu and the others had to do the nasty part of the job with Mainjutsu, as he killed the wife of Daimyo and their kids in their sleep, ended quickly, as they made their way off. As that was going on, Kushina found herself stop as she saw the Daimyo being taken away, but then a man came there, as she saw her red eyes, as he was able to subdue her entire crew and take the Daimyo and sucked him away. The man's presence was chilling, as she couldn't understand why couldn't she stay calm. This man was not normal one bit, as he appeared behind her and her world went red as she turned and glanced into those eyes. Meanwhile, as Kinkaku was facing off against some of the Kumo members, as the man said something that alarmed Kisame, he said the last spot to remain, as the man was talking about Naruto. As Kisame wondered what was he talking about, and it sounds like Naruto was hiding something from them. So yeah guys, so basically that's what left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So this is begin this new episode. Naruto coldly steered towards the corpse of the first Kinkaku soldiers that charged him, as he pointed his flaming blade towards the 93 Kinkaku troops that remained, and their demonic fox transformed leader. A small smile came on his lips as he heard them roar in righteous fury for the fate of their comrades. What was that speed? He looked beside him as Mei came beside him. She had a completely shocked expression on her face as she looked towards the remainder. What was remaining of the Kinkaku forces after they challenged Naruto? One moment they were charged, and a blink of a second later, they were nothing but charred corpses. Hiroshin, level 1, said Naruto. It's my clan most powerful technique. Level 1? You mean there's more? Said Mei in shock. Erna amused. Smile from Naruto. Level 3 is the highest speed. A power that even makes you faster than lightning itself. Although said Jutsu. The results in the user's death, said Naruto. There was sadness in his tone, he had known. Because his mother performed that same jutsu, and it ended up in her death to protect Uzu. The 9-tailed transformed Kinkaku roared in fury. Can you take the 30 Kinkaku on the left flank, said Naruto. I'll try to stay alive, said Mei nervously. As Naruto gave her a comforting smile. If you are in trouble, just use the kunai that I gave you. He looked towards the 3-pronged kunai that were in her pouch. He had given one to each of his squad member. He gave one to Kushina as well. Thinking about her made him worry. He should have felt something from her by now. Something was wrong, because he was only silent so far. He made a hand sign as ash came from his body, and created a clone of himself. You know what to do, said Naruto. Got it, boss. Before Mei could ask, the clone vanished, and the front with the Kinkaku and the fox charged. She could not help but feel a fear that gripped her heart on the sight. Mei, we will go home once this is all over. All of us, said Naruto. The fear in her heart stopped as he took a position in front of her. She nodded gratefully as she sprinted towards the 30 Kinkaku coming from the left flank. As Naruto focused his gaze on the 63, being led by the leader in his Biju form. Now then, let's see how good you really are. As he flashed through hand sign, as a few Kinkaku around him started to create something. Multi-tail beast bomb barrage. The mini bombs of mass destruction raged towards him, but yet he took a deep breath as the ash was released from his body. Ash release. Particle annihilation. As Naruto chakra ignited the ash, and it collapsed in on the Biju bombs. The earth was ripped apart, a blinding light swallowed everything. Meanwhile with Kushina, her eyes widened as she caught a glimpse of the masked man, appearing behind her. The sword in his hand moved to skewer her from behind, but something flashed between them as blades clashed against each other. Two pair of dark red eyes connected, as the masked man smirked. The masked man launched a vicious kick towards the new arriver, but he realized too late that the target was Kushina in the first place, as the man flashed behind Kushina and grabbed her, and the both of them flashed away in a dark flash. The masked man chuckled to himself. He's fast. Perhaps even faster than you, Tobirama. Meanwhile, Kushina merely held back her stomach from spilling over as she appeared on top of a large tree. She felt firm hand grabbing her waist before blasting off with the both of them in a sudden direction. She looked at her savior, rather his ash clone, judging from his chakra levels. Why did we run? She asked. Granted, she was struggling in that fight, but with him by her side, they had a chance. Even if he was a clone and the original was somewhere in the north. That man, he's stronger than me. Kushina was at a loss of words as she heard that confession from him. But it was a nervous look in his eyes that scared her. He has more chakra than me. So much, in fact, you felt it, didn't you? As Kushina nodded, he has the same chakra levels as Hoshirama Senju. They would know, after all. The reason why they lost their life is because they tried to save Hoshiramas. And while there were many powerful shinobis in the world, none could match up to the power of the first Hokage. But only one. Kushina's eyes widened as she remembered those red eyes that stinged her chakra as she connected all the dots. What scared her even more is that she felt that chakra moving towards the original that was fighting in the north. She looked at the clone as she saw a resigned look on his face. Before she could speak, they arrived at a cliff. Beneath it was a large waterfall. She noticed where they were. It was a stream connected to a route that led to Uzu far away. As he placed her on the ground, she realized what he wanted. I'm not leaving you here, not again. As he smiled, go home, Kushina, he said. You have served the village more than enough. As he gave her that trademark eye smile that broke her heart. Then come with me. We can both go home together. Live the life that we only dreamed about till this day, she said. She was begging him as she wrapped her hand gently around his cheeks. A life in the shadows. That is the path I've chosen. To walk in the darkness in order to protect my village that my family died for. I intend to walk on that path till the very end, said Naruto. She clenched her face as tears arrived in her eyes. You know it only ends in one way. As he nodded. I could not protect my parents or my brother. I failed my man in my village. This is the only way I can atone for all those failures, so that someday I could look them in the eye, and I meet them in death," he said calmly. Tears fell from her eyes as he stepped forward, and wrapped his arms around her. "Protect the village, and the Uzumaki name." She cried in his chest as she felt like this would be the last time she would ever see him. Feel his arms around her body. "For a long time I live as a voice of vengeance for the Spartas. But after tonight, there's no need for that. You are the true legacy of us Spartas," he said, with happiness in his voice as he looked towards her. She looked up as he was giving her a happy smile. "Go and live on our behalf, Kushina. Keep the village safe, and ensure our people remember the legacy of those who choose to live their life in the shadows. To ensure the village lives a life in the light. You're my only friend I can entrust this dream of mine to," he said politely. "I will carry on your will, Captain," she said, tears in her eyes, as he smiled. "Maybe in some other life, we could have." Her eyes widened on hearing that from him, as she looked in his eyes, as she saw the same feelings that she carried for him in there. Words could not describe how happy and heartbroken she felt in that moment, to have him acknowledge and return her feelings, but to know deep down they could never become a reality. She looked into those red eyes to see all those dreams coming true. Living a life where nothing became Spartas. They went to the academy, studied, and lived normal life. They became friends at the academy. There was no war, and his family was still alive. She watched herself being placed on the same team as him, as they climbed the ranks together. A few years later, he confessed his feelings to her. They were married in time and went forward to have 2 beautiful children. A handsome boy named Arima, who looked just like him, and a daughter named Katsumi, who took after her. Both of them were doted on by their grandparents, and spoiled rotten by their uncle Nagato. The final memory she got was standing in front of a camera with the entire Namikaze family, as they were all smiling happily. The trance broke. She once again found herself on that cliff, but the hole in her heart, it was filled. Her pain was washed away as he moved and kissed her, with the same passion that he had shown her in that dream. How she wished it was a reality. She steeled herself as he broke the kiss, and took a step back. They looked into each other's eyes. They knew what had to be done, no matter how painful it was. "Thank you for everything, Minato. You truly are a kind man," she whispered, because no one else in this world had cared for her as much as he had. "That's what friends are for," he said, with a mysterious wink. "All these years I made the wrong choice. It was not the Sparta. It was not the village, justice, or revenge that my heart truly desired. My entire life I only want to be beside someone that truly accepted me and cared for me, only to never realize that person has always been by my side. I was a fool," said Kushina, as she laughed miserably. "The past is full of regrets. It is a future we must look forward to, creating a world where there is no need for any Spartas." A look of determination came in her eyes. "I will. But there is something you must know," she said, as she came forward and bumped her forehead against his. "Even if the entire world turned against you one day, I will always be your ally no matter what." As he saw the resolve in her gaze, as it made him think about a life between him and her. She was his true love after all, and feelings like that never go away. As he shared one last final passionate kiss with her, as they broke apart. As she stepped back towards the cliff, she gave him one final smile before jumping, as she disappeared down in the raging waters. As he looked there, tears fell from his eyes. Meanwhile, a lone tear fell from her eye, as he got the memories of his clone. As he had to focus now, as he looked towards the destroyed landscape and the enemies around him, he could also feel that enemy that Kushina and his clone had faced coming towards him rapidly. At the most, he had 15 minutes before that man arrived on this battlefield. He saw Mei desperately engaged in a fight against the Kinkaku on her flank. She had killed a few, but she was struggling against the force. Judging from her breathing and the fluctuation in her chakra, her habitual power will recede soon, leaving her to fight with her own powers. And that wouldn't be enough. He looked around and searched for Kisame, but he frowned, as the man was nowhere near the battlefield. As he spread out his senses, he could feel him coming back. He was all the way out in the forest, as Naruto wondered why did Kisame go all the way out there in the first place. He didn't get more time to think about that, as one of the nearby Kinkaku rushed towards him. Unfortunately for that monster, he had been struck before he even moved. Courteous of Naruto Sage Mode and his red eyes. As he launched his blade with such speed, it skewered right to the man's head and stabbed through a comrade behind him chest, killing 2 of them instantly. As Naruto was forced to leap as the ground was destroyed, 2 tails crashing down where he was, courtesy of a 9-tailed fox Kinkaku, who was rather angry that his men were getting slaughtered. In mid-air, 4 Kinkaku flashed around Naruto, all of them large punches towards him. But Naruto switched himself with one of their nearby comrades. The 4 of them pummeled their comrades to death, as their forces was not holding back one bit. The moment he touched down, all of them charged at him, as he pulled his blade and slashed, tearing through the first Kinkaku as he flashed Johan sign, Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu. A few of them screamed as raging fireballs rained down on them. While they were injured, it wasn't enough to kill them though. They tried to get back up, but they saw dark flashes as more heads roll. Even as more heads roll, Naruto could feel his Sage Mode engine dwindling down from the high, consuming chakra techniques. He doubted without these 2 trump cards, any normal shinobi wouldn't have stand a chance against these demonic warriors, as he dodged another mighty tail only to come straight in front of the mouth of the giant fox. It roared as it unleashed wings so devastatingly powerful he was thrown 100 meters away. He heard Mei call out to him as he smashed through several trees as he coughed up blood. His entire attire across his chest was ripped apart as cuts were littered across his chest. The bleeding stopped instantly though, as his wounds started to regenerate instantly. He tore off the remainder of his shirt as he saw there was 35 left out of the 60, 3 that attacked him, but the main problem was the damn fox. He had to take it down. He charged forward at full speed as all of them came together. Wing style, devastating wave of destruction as Naruto launched his 3-pronged kunai in the air, vanishing away from the massive wind attack. But he could not save the lower part of his legs, as he winced out in pain as the wind attack reached even up here, as his thighs going down was sliced open. That sacrifice, however, got him exactly where he wanted to reach. The 9-tailed Kinkaku glared at his form coming down towards him, as Naruto clasped both of his hands together. Ash release. Rain of death! Hundreds of ash bullets rained from Naruto's body, slamming into the beast. But the beast simply roared, blowing Naruto away once again. But a smirk was on Naruto's face. The beast looked over his body as he saw small marks appearing all over it where Naruto's ash bullet had hit it. "You're mine now," said Naruto. The first to be gone was his legs, as Naruto sliced into his back legs as he appeared behind him. The thing tried to turn around, but Naruto already vanished, as he appeared above his back and ripped into it. Kinkaku screamed out in agony and pain as Naruto's blade had been imbued with so much chakra he was tearing deep into his flesh. As Naruto flashed in front of the beast, it brought its tails, all of them forward, to stop him. But Naruto flashed away as Kinkaku's tails were coming too fast as he obliterated his own troops with his tails. "He's mocking me. He marks my entire body and teleporting all over me," Kinkaku thought to himself angrily. His rage turned to agony as Naruto appeared in front of him and drive his heated blade right through the fox's eye. The beast's roar of pain shook the entire land. Meanwhile, Mei plunged her blade through the throat of a Kinkaku member. As she watched others stop as they turned their head, a monstrous roar shook the entire place. She saw the 9-tailed transformation being torn to shreds as black flashes were going all over its body, ripping it apart. In its desperation of moving, it was killing its own comrades by crushing them under its weight. Inside of me, the 6-tail, what a spectacle. This is the same chakra I felt all those years ago, before the 2-tail was murdered. Is he humanity's fastest soldier? Our size and power are of no use if we cannot see him. I can understand now why one of my brethren lost to him, thought the 6-tail curiously. He did not tell me this, however. She could come to that with her own conclusion. As he watched, many of the Kinkaku members ignored me as they tried to come to their leader's aid as they were torn apart. Few of them fled upon seeing what was happening. A few of them just rooted there as they watched on in shock. As Kisame finally arrived as he saw the sight that was happening right in front of his eyes. Meanwhile, Naruto was panting as his Achilles heel was still healing from the wind attack. He had been expending a lot of chakra, so it was taking a while for him to heal completely, as he had used it a lot to butcher the massive fox on his force. His only solace was that most of Kinkaku members were either dead, brutally slaughtered. Some of them even fled away. A few brave ones started to charge towards him. "My Sage Mode is finished and so is half my chakra. Hirshin, really take a toll on the body. But I have to do what is necessary," he thought to himself. "For the Spartans. And for Kushina," he said, his gaze becoming determined. He looked towards the 9-tailed Kinkaku, who was on the ground groaning in pain and anger. It had been carved up all across his body, and it would take a while before it was recovered. The fact that its eyes were also destroyed made it utterly useless in the battle for the time being. The remaining Kinkaku leaped towards him, but they were all butchered before they could reach him. As Mainjutsu turned. "We got your back, Captain," he said. As Naruto saw the remaining 7 swordsmen arrive, as he went and made quick work of the remaining Kinkaku. Soon enough, Haku arrived at his side and accelerated his healing with her own medical ninjutsu. As he gave her a thankful nod. "Report," he said. As he got back to his feet, his wounds temporarily healed. The look of satisfaction with disappointment in Mainjutsu's eyes did not tell him that something went very well. "We execute the daimyo advisors and his top generals. We also neutralized the wife and children. Unfortunately, we couldn't find him in time before more reinforcements arrived, and we had to retreat. I take full responsibility for this failure, Commander," said Mainjutsu. Naruto gravely nodded. He already knew that the odds were not in their favor one bit. "You did well, Mainjutsu. You executed the mission to the best of your ability and brought your squad members back alive. That is the prime responsibility of a squad leader. Any officer that does not understand this does not deserve the rank. You have nothing to be ashamed of." The tension in Mainjutsu's body released as he gave a relief nod. "What's next, Commander?" Jinpachi said. They heard a roar as he turned their head towards a fox. "Six Tails, set your retreat now," said Mei. They were surprised while the beast was being cooperative, but they could not get to axe it because they saw the fox raise its head to the sky. Even if it was blind, it started to raise a massive energy spear above itself. The spear was so dark not even light could escape from it. It was growing bigger and bigger and bigger until it was as big as a beast, and it was still growing. That mad bastard, he would flatten the land for 100 kilometers. With this amount of power, we're screwed. The squad was surprised as Naruto stepped in front of them. "Commander!" "Hold your ground, Mainjutsu. Didn't I teach you that you are tested when the situation turns against you? When you're determined to do something that will have you remembered." As the squad looked at Mainjutsu, if anything happened to Naruto, Mainjutsu would be the second in command. As the choice that he would make here would forever change everything. As he saw that Naruto was still gonna fight, the commander's wounds may have been healed, but his body is still recovering. His chakra is nearly at half capacity. Can he truly fight against that monster? Then again, if we do run, we cannot outrun the explosion. Should I believe in my commander or the abilities of my squad and myself? Mainjutsu thought to himself. "We are out of time. Make a choice that you will not regret," Naruto said furiously. Mainjutsu's hands were shaking, but after considering everything, he stepped forward. "We make our stand right here. We can't beat that. We'll die," Imura said, as the spear was getting larger and larger. "Then run. But don't ever consider yourself as one of the 7. Or have you forgotten who we are?" said Mainjutsu. A few of them clenched their fists shut and hearing those words. The look in their eyes had changed as they all looked towards their commander. They watched as Mainjutsu stepped beside the commander. As Naruto looked towards Mainjutsu as he saw the resolve in his eye, as he gained a whole lot of respect more for him right here and now. "You make a great Kage someday, Mainjutsu, in some ways. You remind me of the brother I lost." "Ready to fight and die, Commander," Mainjutsu said bravely. As Naruto created 4 clones, Mainjutsu felt Naruto's chakra drops dangerously low after that last move. But he believed the commander knew what he was doing. "I'll take care of the beast. You and the others share every ounce of your chakra in my clones," said Naruto. "Everything?" "Yes, if you want to live, that is." Mainjutsu nodded as the clones went around them in 4 formation like a box. As they spread their chakra. 4 violent flame formation. A 20 feet long barrier was created that encased the entire squad. Their chakra started to make the barrier glow a bright purple. As Naruto smiled, these were the man and woman he would be proud to fight and die alongside with. "I failed my man once, not again." As Kinkaku, monstrous eyes were healed as it glared at him. As Naruto flicked his 3-pronged kunai in the air. Biju Bomb. As Mei watched as the thing was launched towards them, only for her to see something flash right in front of it, and the bomb was gone. "What the?" said Zabuza, only for the Biju Bomb to appear right above Kinkaku. Right above him as it was ready to go off. Kinkaku looked up in shock as he saw a black flash appear above his wounded form. As his gaze looked up towards the figure that held a black arm that grabbed his Biju Bomb. Harashin, level 2. The world went white as the Biju Bomb was slammed right upon Kinkaku without mercy. A bone-chilling scream was released by the monster as it watched the black arm, compressing a spear of energy right on him. Flesh and bones melted in an instant as the monster screamed. It felt each and every viper, down to its last cell, being vaporized as the violent explosion spread outwards. Kisame and their squad started to lose their ground as the ground under their feet started to break apart. Hold! Mainjutsu shouted as each of them lashed themselves onto their nearest clone, pouring their last remaining ounce of chakra into the barrier. As they struggled, they saw a wave of flames burning and ripping and incinerating everything for miles upon miles outside the barrier. Forests, stones, water, corpses, even enemy troops were reduced to nothing but dust as the destruction rained upon the land. Pure devastation, destruction, chaos. The earth was torn apart, distant mountains rumble before the mountains were turned into dust. No one could recollect how long it lasted for until it finally gave out, and the bright light went off. The rumbling across the earth died down slowly. The blinding light slowly started to seep away. Fire still raged in all directions. The area was covered in smoke and ash. The clones poof away. As the barrier vanished, Mei and her squads looked around, as she found herself, along with her teammates, on a tiny patch of land that stood amongst a crater that was 100 feet deep below them. As Naruto appeared beside them in the flesh, and he was falling, Aimerai and Jinpachi caught him before he could fall off the edge. The blonde was panting harshly. He looked like he was almost dead of exhaustion. "Commander, retreat now," said Naruto, a warning look in his eyes that were no longer red, showing his natural eye color. "But the mission is not complete and you slaughtered the enemy forces. We still have a chance," said Mainjutsu. They had come this far, took all this risk, to return without their prime target. "Not against him," said Naruto. Before anyone could say anything, a massive gust blew every smoke and ash out of the air. All of them had to reinforce their legs down to the ground with chakra so they wouldn't be blown away into that large crater. The smoke and ash was gone, showing there was a man standing there. He was casually looking at them. "You dance well, boy," the man said. Mainjutsu and everyone else was assaulted by a force that demanded nothing but complete obedience. The killing intent made him fall to his knees as Mainjutsu couldn't hold it, as he felt like he was about to fall right in the crater or use his own sword to end his life. His eyes widened in disbelief when he saw Naruto drop to one knee, as Naruto was struggling to get back up. Unlike the others who couldn't even move, they were petrified, breaking down, until Naruto forced himself back up to his feet as he threw his blade down towards the crater. He then went through one-handed seals as he pointed his hand right towards his blade. As release. "A volley of flames," he said. Dark chakra brushed out from his body and made contact with his sword, and it released a titanic wave of flames, all inside of the crater. "Are you trying to get us all killed? How the hell were you supposed to escape? You set everything around us on fire," Jinpachi said. "Now that you can breathe again, you sure run your mouth a lot," said Naruto. Everyone then realized that killing intent had stopped and they could now breathe again. They could feel so much energy in the air, thanks to the fire that Naruto had created with his own special chakra. "You impaired his vision, preventing the masked man from his first point of sight on us. Next, you shrouded our chakra by releasing the unstable fire to fill the air with that burst of chakra," said Mainjutsu. As Naruto nodded, as he reached into his pouch and pulled out a small bottle of pills. They looked like mud, like in color, and they're very small, very small. As he offered them to his comrades, they hesitated. "It's not poison. This will help," he said. "Just take it before the diversion fail." Mainjutsu and Mei grabbed the pills first as they swallowed it. They felt energy pour in their bodies as a 1/4 of their chakra returned. The others felt it as well, as they reached out for more to fully replenish himself, but he took it away. "Your bodies can only handle that much anymore, and you risk a stroke," he said. "What are they?" said Aimerai. "Soldier pills. A secret weapon used by my clan in the past to replenish our reserves. Due to our taxing super fast speed movements, they pump huge amount of adrenaline in your body. If not taken correctly, they can wreak havoc on your nervous system, even result in death." He didn't tell them that this was created by the Sparta. Yes, it was given to the Sparta so that they could fight for days without stopping. And because the Sparta's body were enhanced, it wouldn't affect them like they would normal people, so they could take more and go on for days. As he looked towards the red eyes that were watching him from outside the flame, for the first time in decades, he was afraid. And yet his mission was far from over. He may have told Mainjutsu it was okay that he did not assassinate Lightning Daimyo, but that was far from the truth. His entire family was dead because of that man's ambition and his friends. And he couldn't let that go on. He had to die, no matter the cost. It was that hate in his art that made him overwhelmed. This fear that came from that masked man as he looked towards Mainjutsu. Summon your bird now. Mainjutsu went through hand signs as he slammed his hand down. There was a poof of smoke. The large eagle appeared right beside them, much to the relief of the entire squad. Without a word, one by one, they all jumped on top of the summon. Mei looked as she saw Naruto still standing on that elevated piece of land as he poured the contents of the bottle in his hand and tossed the bottle in the flames as he swallowed all the pills. "We need to go now," she yelled. "Go on," he says. He pulled another set of 3-pronged kunai from his pouch, the last set. "I'll catch up," he said. But she was cut off as his eyes turned red. "That's an order," he said. Haku and the others flinched as he heard that commanding tone and the raw fury that came from him, made just to show the kunai that he had. "Understood, Commander," he said. "Whatever you have to do, just get back fast." Naruto nodded as he vanished in a flash. The rest of the squad took to the skies. When he came back outside, teleporting back to one of his kunais that were left outside, out of the crater, the masked man was just sitting there, doing nothing. "Ah, you finally show up. Or the trash out of the way." Naruto flinched on hearing that statement in such a nonchalant order. But it also gave him some insight on his enemy. Kushina mentioned he had attacked our Anbu squad and abducted the daimyo. But if that's what he was after, why did he follow them all the way out here? Unless... "Are you the mastermind behind this war?" said Naruto, sharp as ever. Then again, I expected nothing less from his son of Tobirama Senju. He saw the way Naruto was unfazed even after hearing that. "Your lack of surprise showed that you have an idea about this reality for a long time. Your mother must have told you before she died, correct?" "Answering my question, one of your own. Let's skip over that dance. It is strange how the peace-loving second Raikage was assassinated right when he was about to sign a peace treaty between the Land of Fire and the new Raikage that came right after him. Just instantly started the war. It was strange how the Land of Lightning started the first Great Shinobi War by trying to capturing Hoshirama in the first peace summit. They should have known that they could not beat the strongest shinobi of their time, unless they had someone equal in power that could match the Senju leader, one who was possibly controlling them all from the shadows. Ain't that right, Madara?" said Naruto. Madara reached up and ripped off his mask and threw it away, as Naruto could not help but look surprised by how young the man looked, considering that he was in his late 40s, a phenomenon only the Uzumakis were able to pull off. It wasn't normal for a shinobi of his caliber to remain so young. After all, their bodies were put through constant strain of fighting. 2 large bangs covering his face, one of them nearly blocking his right eye. He was in top shape considering his muscular form, and his chakra was just so ferocious. It was him, Madara Uchiha. "Tell me," as Madara waved a single hand sign, that gun appeared in his hand with a sickle at the end, "why didn't you run with the others? A Sparta never retreat, never surrender or abandon his mission. You think you can take my puppet out? He may be an asshole, an annoying one, but he's useful to my plans. Although, that's code of yours. I wonder, is that the reason why the Spartans are nearly extinct now?" said Madara with a smirk. "My men die with courage and honor. I will not let you dishonor them," said Naruto coldly. "That's where you're wrong. They die, just like every other shinobis of every era. Because shinobis are people who can never understand each other and never understand peace. You would not be the last soldiers to meet such a fate. If mankind continue on his path, it's a never-ending cycle of hatred that needs to stop," said Madara. "You think you can change mankind?" said Naruto. He saw all the sense of friendliness from Madara's face vanish, and his fist clenched tightly. "I have to, if I'm gonna save them from what is coming," said Madara, as he took an aggressive stance. Naruto followed suit, as both of them looked at each other with their red eyes. "Let's dance, Sparta." As Naruto launched a 3-pronged kunai, it flew right over Madara's head as Naruto vanished and caught the weapon a second later. But before Naruto could do anything, a bone-crushing kick slammed in his jaw, sending him behind the ear. Before he could even recover, a fist slammed into his chest, cracking a few of his ribs. Madara then flipped over him and slammed the heel in his back. Despite his injury and pain that he was currently in, Naruto flipped away as he coughed up blood. In pain, he looked up as he saw Madara brush some dirt off his shoulder. "Your speed is useless when I can see your movements and have quick enough reflex to counter them," said Madara, as Naruto glared in silence as Madara motioned for Naruto to come. However, Madara saw with his Sharingan, Naruto broke in nerves healing, until there was no damage at all. Healing without hand sign or medical ninjutsu. I can see Hashirama chakra inside of you. Then again you're part Senju, thanks to Obirama, said Madara. As Naruto flashed through hand sign, as Madara did the same. Fire style. Majestic Destroyer Flame. The both of them released massive waves of flames that crashed together. Madara then heard a whistling sound. As he looked up, as he felt hundreds of angel signatures coming down from the clouded sky. Water style. Rain of Death. Madara had to jump back and flip away as the rain bullets hit the ground hard, tearing through it. His Sharingan twists into the Mangekyou as a wave of black flames appear above him, protecting him. Earth style Headhunter Jutsu. As Naruto breaks from the ground, the lightning enhanced kunai. Madara gripped his wrist and plucked it out of his hand and stabbed it into his skull. But Naruto burst into water. Wind style, Wave of Destruction. Madara grunted as a brutal wave slammed right into his back, throwing him. As he flipped and landed down, he spat blood. As he turned to see Naruto over the other side, his hand cackling with lightning. To be able to use all 5 forms of chakra nature so expertly and with finesse, releasing that wave of water, forcing me where he wanted, then using that water to create a water clone to attack me from beneath, while the real snuck up behind me. As Madara looked into Naruto's eyes, as the heavens above them roared. Disappear, said Naruto. A flash of lightning dropped from the sky right on top of Madara, releasing a violent explosion. Lightning style Thunderbolt, said Naruto as he released more and more devastating lightning bolts. But Madara got away by switching himself with a tree log. As Naruto turned to see Madara smiling at him. Nice try. As Naruto grit his teeth. I can't defeat him with my current speed. He can see through my speed with his eyes. His Sharingan is no ordinary one either. The way he talks about me and my history, it seems he knows a lot about me. And while I know him from the stories I heard as a child, that's not enough. I can't overpower him. What can I do here? He blinked in surprise. The solution came to him. Why are you toying with me when you know that you're stronger, said Naruto? Because killing you does not serve my goals. You might not be as strong as me or Hashirama, but you are a far better commander than either of us. You have proven that time and time again on the battlefield. In the first Great Shinobi War, the mission that took you behind enemy lines to rescue Hashirama in the Battle of Osaka, and now on this very mission that you're on. No matter the odds or the sacrifices, you have always completed the mission successfully, never being defeated in battle. That's the kind of commander my army will need if we're going to stop them and save mankind from extinction. Who are them, said Naruto, that you keep on referring to again and again? The Otsutskis, Madara said. He tossed a scroll towards Naruto, who caught it. It has all the information you need to know. Whether you believe me or not, join me or fight me, they are coming. And they want nothing more than the pure destruction of our world, said Madara coldly. As Naruto's heart skipped a beat when he saw the look in Madara's eyes. The man truly believed in this. What makes you think I'll ever support you after the war you started? Took everything from me, said Naruto. You're still not thinking about everything. Your friends, your family, your village. The enemy does not care about such trivial things, said Madara. They are not trivial to me, said Naruto. Madara sighed, but he did give a nod of acknowledgement to the boy and his past, as he remembered what he had lost to reach this point as well. In some ways, you're a lot like me. Those incomplete eyes of yours prove that you're a part Uchiha, making us distant family, if nothing else. All you wanted to do was protect your younger brother and your family from this cruel world, like I wanted to protect my own brother and my clan. Even now, you're still doing what you're doing to protect your lost brother wishes, as I'm still doing what I have to do to honor my brother wishes and protect the Uchiha clan. This war that you started destroy everything I love, said Naruto. It also took the life of many Uchiha who you are now claiming to protect. It was not something I honestly desire, but it was necessary to unite the world under one banner to face the Otsutskis. Even so, those deaths, they're on me, said Madara, without a flinch. You toss aside your humanity to face the Otsutskis, Naruto said in disbelief. As Madara smiled, rather amused. You assume that you're humans. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, he lowered his head as he spoke. For a long time I was lost in my pain and guilt. I thought myself worse than trash for failing to protect my unit, my family, my friends. And I found someone who was able to look past all my burdens. She loved me despite my shortcomings. And she cared for me, much more than I ever deserved. She became my lone light in this world of darkness, and I will not let your ambitions endanger her life. Madara was surprised as Naruto killed an intense spike to levels that surprised him. Maybe it is pointless to talk to you, to the current you, now, as my accomplice told me. The one who is so blind to the reality of this world. One day the darkness in that hidden villages would consume the lone light in your life, just like it did mine. Deep down, you know it in your heart. Ninjas are nothing but disposable tools in the eyes of their nations. Madara saw Naruto flinch as he smirked at that. There is no honor, no light, no hope in this dark world. Someday you will see it and perhaps we shall meet again. I look forward to that day, boy, said Madara. A drop of water fell on Madara's shoulder as he looked up, as he missed the predatory smile that came on Naruto's face as he vanished. Meanwhile, in the nearby Land of Lightning stronghold, Madara clone, who has been watching the unconscious Lightning Daimyo, was shocked when he felt someone appear in the hideout. He swiftly turned, but a sharp pain erupted in his chest. Looking down, he was shocked to see the cold, ruthless eyes of Naruto Namikaze as he looked towards the three-pronged kunai in his chest. Bastard, said Madara. Spot us. Never abandon your mission, said Naruto. The clone's eye widened as he noticed Naruto glanced toward the unconscious Daimyo, his true target. All this time you were searching for my location. That is why you engaged my original in battle and marked him with your chakra. You use that marking on my original to trace my chakra signature. Then you teleport yourself here. Using that link, since I am the original, share the same chakra between us. By marking him, you marked me as well, the clone said. We underestimate you. As he poofed away. Meanwhile, as Madara stood there, it failed, he said. I told you so, Madara. A pitch black creature stood beside the Uchiha in black robes. He's a man of honor, Madara said, a rare breed. He's hard to break, which is why we need him if we're going to fight the Otsutskis. He might not be as strong as me, but he's trusted by his troops. He leads them into battle, the Spartans, the 7 Ninja Swordsmen of Kiri, and now the 501st. He never lost sight of his mission despite the odds against him. Even when facing someone like me, he never gave up. Even though he knew that he might die, he still searched for a way to find his original target, which was the Daimyo all along. That is the kind of commander I want to find to lead my army, Zetsu, said Madara, as he got a surprised look from the black creature. True, today's shinobi leaders are more focused on personal glory and fame through conquest. For all of his shortcomings and failures, you still admire him, said Zetsu, as Madara smiled. I should hate him considering that he's the son of the man that killed my dearest brother. Yet, unlike the scoundrel Tobirama, who persecuted my clan for his personal hatred as soon as he gained power, his son is a man of honor who still chose to protect Osa despite the village decision, costing him everything that he holds dear. He reminds me of Hoshirama himself. Whether he chose to oppose or join me, he will be the only shinobi other than Hoshirama who I respect. With those words, Madara turned as he started to retreat. You want our forces to pursue him. He did kill the daimyo, said Zetsu. Madara shook his head. Let them go. We can always replace the daimyo with another one of our pawns. The Namikaze know this as well. Do you truly believe that he will become an ally in our war? Asked Zetsu. Madara glanced up at the dark skies and remembered that light in the boy's eyes. Have you initiated our alternate strategy since mine failed? Yes, I doubt your honesty would work on him. So I start making arrangements. Even before he and his squad embark on this mission. As Madara chuckled at that. Crafty bastard. Then again, it will be the hidden villages that will do our task for us. Meanwhile, harsh rains came down hard as the winds were terrible. Mei and the others had to stick themselves to the summon. It had been only a few minutes since they left your leader to face off against that masked man, but it was feeling like an eternity. Just thinking about that masked man's power made her heart skip a beat. He was even more powerful than the Biju inside of her. Her eyes widened as there was a flash of lightning in the sky, rendering her blind for a moment like everyone else. When they opened their eyes, they saw Naruto at the rear end of the bird, with a human body over his shoulder. Mission complete. His words snapped her from her shock as they saw. It was a lightning daimyo who Naruto was holding onto. His throat was slit. As Naruto sealed the body away in a stroll as he walked towards the front of the bird, ignoring the surprised look. No one uttered a word as he simply stood there as a harsh rain washed him off. All the dirt, the blood, the grime that he had accumulated in the battle. His fists were clenched as the thunder in the sky brought back so many painful memories that he had fought hard to forget. Ninjas are nothing but disposable tool in the eyes of their nations. There is no honor, no light, no hope in this world of darkness. Madara's words wrangled something inside his heart that he had kept at bay for a long while, as he remembered clear to this day. Captain Fox, our lines are breached. We cannot hold. He remembered the desperate tone in the voice of one of his Sparta officers, as they were staying back to hold back the force of Kumo army that was coming towards them, while the remaining Spartans got Hashirama out of there. Captain, the Kinkaku are coming with them. Where are the reinforcements? He could still see the Kinkaku slaughtering the Spartans. Wolf Squad is down, I repeat. Wolf Squad is annihilated. They are surrounding us from all sides, Captain. He could never forget those final moments. He had tried so hard to keep his troops protected, and he had called for command, but he received nothing but dead silence. He remembered Nagato's words. They left us to die, didn't they, elder brother? That look of betrayal in his brother's eyes were not something that he could ever forget. Lord Uzukage and members of the Jonin Council, I have come before you today to protest the grave injustice. The Spartans should have never been sent on a suicidal mission. More than that, there was no help or reinforcements given to my men when they needed the most. These ninjas fought for this nation, and they got betrayed when they needed the help the most. This situation is unacceptable. He remembered those cold stares, those heartless looks. They were not even moved by the suicidal order that his men had to follow. He remembered, Captain Fox, we are at war. We need Konoha military support to survive, and Hashirama is required to keep that alliance active. The Sparta were the price for that alliance. The Fire Daimyo has already made it very clear. We would have suffered heavy casualties if we had sent reinforcements. Our military forces is already on the verge of collapsing as it is. If the village learn about this, they shall lose faith. In these dire hours, these crucial hours when they need it the most, and the sacrifice that your man took, they will be meaningless. Or you can take full responsibility for your man on your shoulders. Tell our people that your mistakes cost the life of your man. If you do that, we shall take care of the wishes and the family of your man forever. And the village will stay united, and we might just win this war. Choose, Captain Fox. Either believe in yourself, that you can protect the village at all times, or believe in the village, but make a choice that will honor the legacy of your man. He had made a choice that day. He had took full responsibility. The people had cried for his blood, for their pain and sorrow, only for the leadership to prevent them from taking his life. He had remembered that shame. He had remembered all that hateful looks. He remembered picking up his sword to end it forever, but the Uzukage had stopped him and asked him to protect the village from the shadow. They had sent him to Kiri because there was no future left for him in the village after his confession. Uzu was still standing till this day, but it was because of him and his man's sacrifices. The nations that they loved, fought and died for, tossed them aside like they were nothing but tools. And Madara's words had brought back that memory back in his heart, that pain and that fear. It has to stop. Time skip. 1 week later, Kiri. Naruto and his squad were marching towards the gate, as they just accomplished a literally impossible task that was given to them. They were all brimming with pride. Commander. He turned to see them all looking at him with nothing but pure admiration and respect in their eyes. Thank you. There were no words that he could say on hearing Meijo say that, as the rest of them all gave him bow of acknowledgement. No matter what the village or anyone else thinks, we think you're a great leader, said Mei with a smile. We discussed something among us and have a request for you, Haku said. He gave her a tiny nod, giving her the permission to go ahead. As Zabuza stepped forward, you're a hard ass and a crazy son of a bitch, but you know your shit, and you protected us. To the best of your abilities, you saw some things inside of us, which we ourselves could not. There are not many leaders in Kiri who could do that, said Zabuza, as Main to pick up for him. It is why we would like to fight this war, under your command, if you will have us. I know you might have other plans for us that you discussed in the Mizukage, but we feel that we're more efficient as a group, and we can do some real good in this war, under your leadership, Aku said. Are you prepared to die following that choice, said Naruto. Because there can be no room for doubt or hesitation. Yes, all of them said. A faint smile came on his face as he heard that. No hesitation. Then you are exactly the kind of man and woman I need in the 501st. Main Jutsu and others could not hold back their smile. Even Kisame and Jinpachi smirked. As they made their way forward towards the village, Main Jutsu saw his own father appearing at the gate with Anvus. The entire squad gave the man a bow as Naruto placed the scrolls in front of the Mizukage. Mission accomplished, Lord Second. All my men are accounted for. You did the impossible, Commander, said the Mizukage, as the surprise and shock spread through the Anvu. I have the finest ninjas in this village under my command, said Naruto. Agreed, Kiri shall always be in your decks, and so will I, said Genjutsu, as he glanced towards his own son, who smiled back at him. We did our duty, that is all. An unsettling feeling came in Naruto's heart as he saw the Mizukage eyes. The happiness was dimming away, with a nervous, hesitant look. Naruto, there's something that you need to know, he said. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next parts, then do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications I posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.